Hi, this is Matt Hugg with ThinkMP.com, and I have with me today Joe Tumolo of JoeTumolo.com, and this is one of a series of videos I'm doing with Joe because he brings so many important things to talk about when we're talking about working with nonprofits and consulting. And Joe, just before we forget from the start, how do we find you?
Joe Tumolo, that's JoeTumolo.com.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you, Joe. So, Joe, you said something to me earlier that I've been involved with scouting for years, and so this one, of course, really got my ears when you talked about campfires. and you talked about starting your practice is like starting a campfire. So the first thing that hits my head is, so we're talking about the teepee design, a lean-to, right? Are we going to use a hot spark on it? Am I going to throw gasoline on it, right? How is it going to be a big flame out and then nothing? So you got to work this analogy with me here because I'm all over the place on this just from my experience in camping. So, what do you mean?
We're feeling a lot of pressure here.
That's right.
Well, to all your audience that are Eagle Scouts or Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or former, I assume.
Never a former Eagle Scout.
Never former? Okay.
Yeah.
So you know how much I know about that.
There you go.
And I am not an outdoors person. The old joke about my idea of roughing it is staying at a Holiday Inn.
There you go.
So for those of us that don't know how to start a fire, right, without a match, right? So I started my practice 3 years ago. And my good friend Dan Scher, who's also my marketing guy, one day said, "How's your business going?" I said, "Well, it's okay. I have enough conversations going. I feel like there is a business here. But just when I think I'm gaining traction, I feel like I'm starting over." And he said, "Well, Joe, starting your own business is like starting a fire. You get the fire going, you get your business going, and things looks like it looks like it's going to take off.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it dies out again. And you're like, wow, what am I doing wrong here?
Not enough air, not enough fuel.
Yes, right? So what am I doing wrong, right? So then you start it again. And then it starts going again. And then you figure out how to keep it going.
Yeah.
And then it starts to build momentum until it's this huge fire.
Right.
And life is good. And so that's the way the business was. And I think for those of your listeners that are just starting out, be conscious of that at least that's been in my experience and others, maybe yours.
And I joked a bit about the gasoline, right? But it really, it happens if you really want to have a big fire quick, you put some sort of flammable, highly flammable combustive material in there and boom, it goes up. The problem is it doesn't stick.
Well, that was part B of this conversation, is
right.
That's right. It will stick if, let's say we are at a campfire, and we've got this fire going, and now it's time to go to sleep. But we need to keep that fire going.
Okay.
So either, if it's the two of us, we're going to have to take turns sleeping because somebody has to sit there and make sure the fire doesn't go out.
Exactly.
Right?
Or that it doesn't get out of control.
Well said. These metaphors are flying around are great,
right? Here, right? Because that's my biggest fear in a campfire overnight is that it's going to get beyond and we're going to have a real problem. So
good point.
You need to maintain that so that if you are going to grow it, you're going to grow it steadily so that it serves your purpose.
Yes, and I think both of those concerns related to a consultant practice are pretty much from the same core essence. Is example, if I take a week vacation, what does my business look like?
Yeah.
There's no business there.
Right. Or a month.
Right? So is my business scalable? Is it sustainable? Do I constantly have to be watching that fire or it's going to go out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The other part B is too much, right?
Right.
Does it get out of hand and I'm not able to deliver that consistent quality to clients, right?
Right.
So, candidly, I haven't figured out all the answers yet.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking about is, do I hire somebody? Can I train that person?
Right.
Big concern that I've spoken to some other consultants who have had their practice for a long time say, you know what, I just talked to somebody recently in Manhattan, very successful consultant. She said, I started hiring people, but I was so worried about keeping that pipeline full, I couldn't sleep at night. It's one thing to keep the fire going just for me,
Yeah.
but if there are other mouths that I have to feed,
Depend upon you. Yeah, that's a problem.
it's a lot of pressure.
Right.
And if you're aren't built that way,
Yep.
and I'm not sure that I'm built that way,
Yeah, well, fair
right?
enough, right.
So you could certainly pull people in, like I could pull, like we do. We pull each other into clients,
Sure.
right? But you're not depending on me, right? So you find other people that are established, that are collaborative,
Yep.
aren't
Yep.
competitive,
Yeah.
that we can pull each other in and not worry about. I don't have to worry about feeding you because you have your own clients.
Yep.
I can pull you in, right?
No, exactly. Exactly.
So, and then do I want to build something online? Which is another thing I'm thinking about. And how do I do that? There's a great book called Little Bets. Peter Sims, S-I-M-S.
Okay.
Great little book.
Okay.
Use a lot of real world practical examples. But his point is, it doesn't have to be this huge risk.
Yeah.
You can just take little bets.
Yep.
So what I'm working on now is, all right, do I want to build a whole training school online? Been thinking about it, but man, that's really expensive. You know, building Think NP, and you
Yeah.
guys have done that so well.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, and there's risk there. But let me just start with one little module. So I came up with the idea, I'm going to start with one module, one course. Here's a little mini course for whatever, $195.
Yeah.
And I'm going to basically build that, and then just do that one at a time, little bets, small investments, small risk,
Right.
till it is something much bigger. So back to the campfire, the point is, right,
Yeah.
is how you're going to keep the campfire going. And
Right.
knowing psychologically, if you're just starting out, you're going to take a couple steps back before you can go forward. And don't get, it's all our choices, but don't get, oh my God, this is not working, I'm going to go take a job somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Which some people do.
Because, well, which you end up in effect dousing the campfire, simply letting it go out, and that's a real temptation / threat for people. Is if they're not able to give it enough fuel, if they're not able to give it enough oxygen, right? And we can connect our analogies there wherever we'd like, right?
Yeah.
Then you're going to peter it out. Now, so let's take that a step. What's the fuel? What's the fuel that keeps these campfires going?
Well, and I think it has to be a lot of things. It can't be one thing. You can't just be passion, right? We talk
Right.
about, well, I'm passionate about my business, but that doesn't make a business,
No.
right?
Exactly.
And I got that from Kevin Leary at Shark Tank,
Okay.
right? I mean, he's all business, but he said that one night I was watching. He said, just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean there's a business there, right?
Right.
Yeah. But you do have to have, I think, to be able to put up with the rejection, to be able to maybe worry or think about where's the next client coming from, right?
Yep,
To have
yep.
that
You have to have
constitution.
passion to move forward with this.
Right, so it's passion. It's remembering always that we have to be fiscally responsible business people.
Okay.
So that means our greatest asset is our time,
Yeah.
spending our time wisely, right? We talked about in another video, we do that by qualifying people.
Yep.
We do that by being discerning about where we're spending our time. So
Right.
one of the things I had to do, I do a lot of networking and relationships, which are really important to me.
Sure.
But it started to get to the point where I could have spent all my time having lunch and coffee with networking people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so as a people pleaser, it was really hard to start saying, you know what, I can't either, Friday afternoons are my time to do the networking.
Yeah.
And
you have to control your schedule that way a bit.
yeah,
Right.
big time, because that's all we have. And really watching, and I say this to my clients, the fundraisers, literally monitoring how you're spending each day.
So one of your fuels is your time. You want to have passion. That's another fuel in there. Right?
Relationships.
Relationships are a good, solid third fuel. And to keep this fire going and start building it in a systematic, orderly way, so that, not to say you're a control freak, but so that you can control how it's getting, how big it is, so it suits you. So, because the fire in the end is a tool, right?
Correct.
It's serving you. You don't serve the fire.
Great mantra or question is, are you running your business or is your business running you?
Exactly.
Right? And as you get established, if you don't change the way you think, the way you're doing business, the business will start running you.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
if I can
Please.
leave with one little saying that a mentor taught me years ago, I come up with the idea, think about an idea, a business idea.
sure.
I believe I can do it. I achieve it. Now, do you know what the hardest of those three are? Creating the idea, believing it, and achieving it?
Probably believing it.
Believing it's the hardest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So believe you can do it, ask other people for help,
Right.
and just stay in it for the long run.
That's cool. That's great. Thank you, Joe. It's been a real barn burner. This is Matt Hugg with Joe Tumolo. Joe, thank you so much. And how do people find you?
JoeTumolo.com, or my cell is 610-653-7906. And then I have a couple books on Amazon as well.
That's great. Okay. And I imagine you have an author page on Amazon people can go to, right?
Yes.
That's super. Well, this is Matt Hugg with ThinkMP with author, speaker, trainer, consultant in the nonprofit world, Joe Tumolo. Joe, thank you so much.
My pleasure.